Good day, everyone, and welcome to Wheels Up Live. I am ID Bound,
And I'm Felix.
and this week's going to be slightly different. Apologize in advance that we have
Yes.
pre-recorded this one
Yes.
because we have a very special guest today who is only available on today and not on Sunday. But I think you're really going to enjoy it. So
Yes.
stay tuned with us.
Yes.
As always, we're going to start with the news of the week. And we did a entire hour of news of the week on Sunday because so much had happened
Yep.
in the industry during the past week. So today we're going to have a little bit of a shortened segment, and our highlight item obviously is the WinWing FCU that they've announced for the A320. It's not a mini; it's
Not a
supposed
mini,
to
it's a
be
full
a replica
size.
size. And I know Felix, you're pretty excited, or at least interested about this one and what it means to the market.
Yeah, so I think that this was an interesting announcement. I'm sure that there at Mini FCU. There's a little rattling of cages. I know we talked about this beforehand. That there may be an issue with kind of the pricing because Winwing kind of went right under and was like, "Hey, $99," which we know that was the buy-in pricing for Mini FCU. But we also know that right now Mini FCU is $275, and the global price for full-size Winwing FCU is going to be 129.95 US dollars.
Right.
Various wherever, obviously currency exchange rates and everything like that. But that being said, that's less than half the price of the mini FCU. So I'm wondering what their response is really going to be. WinWing is an established brand at this point. They are making a lot of good hardware. When it comes to DCS, they're kind of they're one of they're one of the top end when it comes to like HOTAS. They're a WinWing Orion set. People love that. So yeah, it's a really shocking move because I wasn't expecting. I don't know. I'm not really following as far as WinWing, but
Well,
it's a really
apparently
it's
they
a
had made some kind of preliminary indication that this was coming
yes,
back in November around the same time as Mini FCU was actually started to ship.
yes,
But that hadn't actually translated to anything in particular.
yes,
And even now, I'm still not sure the pre-order is up. But I think the other interesting facet here in this sort of hardware potential battle, if you will, and which, by the way, I think is always good for us as the enthusiasts, is
yes,
that WinWing is also really looking at making the full glare shield complement.
yes,
And Mini SCU has definitely talked about some of that. But I think here we might be ultimately you might be able to build out a full glare shield with your EFIS and your side panels and the cover and the housing. Uh,
yes,
Goodness knows what all of that will cost, but with the price of the FCU coming in at 99 intro or 129 as we go along, it's a good place to start
it
potentially. It's
is. Yeah,
certainly an interesting development. One of the things, of course, that people jumped on right away, there's no expedite button, which seemed a little odd. But for me, it's just hard to tell in any of these scenarios. I bought the mini FCU for $99. Why the hell not? And it's quite nice, although I hate the suction cup attachment on the bottom, which is a kind of a goofy way to mount something, but okay. But I would say that the look and feel is definitely high quality for $99. Would I have paid $279? No,
that's why I'm
that
not
would have
going to
been a
get it.
no. Not that it's bad, but I just wouldn't have paid $279 for it. It's just
Yeah,
for $100, I was willing to give it a try.
sure.
So I think that might make it an interesting competitor. And as you say, WinWing has more of an established
They do.
reputation with flight sim add-ons. Although not to, I don't think they have any real products sort of on the commercial
They are
airliner
not. They
side.
are really not civilian. This will be their. I think this will be their first entry into civilian. They were exclusively kind of mil sim. Their big thing was the Orion, which was basically ripped off from F-18. They have the whole F-18 cockpit that you. Well, it's not the whole cockpit, but it's a pretty good little setup that they have. So this will be their first kind of entry into this commercial market, and we'll see where it goes. I'm fingers crossed for like a Boeing, some because the current options for the Collins or the Rockwell, the Collins and the Honeywell MCP, they are not let's just say they're not $100.
No, no, no. Something like Cockpit Master, I think they're what, about $800,
Yeah, they're like
somewhere in
800 or
that
something
neighborhood.
bucks, which for what you're getting is obviously, but that's out of the reach of like most simmers. My whole peripheral setup, I don't think. Let's see, yeah, I don't think it's $800. So,
Yeah, and the used market isn't as robust as one might hope.
no, no,
So,
it's not. And people,
not that I don't
honestly,
look
I've noticed
around.
that they charge still a lot. They think they've got, it's kind of like when somebody sells their house where they think they're, oh, this is amazing, you got to sell it, and it's like, no, you're gonna have to pay for the comps. This price per square foot. This is how this
Yeah.
works.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But nevertheless, I think it's good for all of us to see, more and more entrants. Again, I think it's just another reminder of the incredible spread that of the hobby, if you will, that MSFS has really brought along with the
Yes.
numbers that they have. People want to get into this with the popularity of the A3 2X products of
Hmm.
any kind, whether it's Phoenix or
Yeah.
fly by wire or whatever. People want them. We got an A350 on the way, A380 on the way. I'm assuming they're going to make those work for the most part, even though they might look a little different. Obviously,
Yeah.
those glare shields
Well, it'll
are a little
certainly
different,
work
but
for anything A320, A330,
right,
A340 for
right,
sure.
right.
Yeah.
And so I hopefully they're going to have some flexibility. And as always, there's usually somebody from a third party perspective who figures out how to make it work with every other plane you want to fly to, which is
Yeah.
also a really nice option. Well, so that's
That's
our
it.
news of the week.
Hmm.
Now we have our special guest, and I know Felix is going to introduce him for us.
Yeah. So, this is somebody I met. I've been a moderator on the Fellas channel for almost over a year now, almost a year and a half. We actually started talking longer ago than that. I was asking him some questions, and he's a really knowledgeable guy, real world pilot. His name is Yas. Fantastic individual, and here he is, Yas.
Good day, Yas.
Hi there, guys. Hello. Hi. Nice to see you guys.
Yeah.
So,
So,
I mean, one of the things you mentioned there, Felix, right away, and we've put it on his Chiron, is that you are a retired commercial pilot. So
yes.
you're our first who's been on, and we thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, our opening question, since you were in the aviation business and continue to be, how did you get into it? What brought you to aviation?
Yeah, well, that's a long time ago. I was a very small boy, and my father was working for a company. He had a job in Ecuador, Quito. So we traveled there with the whole family, and I was about 3 years old. So and I was about 5 when we flew back, and I can still remember things of the sun going up and the bright light coming through the window in this Boeing 777 of Avianca. I still remember that. So that's a kind of fears of flying that got probably into me. And then, yeah, it started, to be in my head and, kind of thing. Yeah, I want to be a pilot. That was a thing. What is in my mind at that time? And well, then I went to I don't know the American system and the European system for schooling. How you call that? But
Well, we have viewers from
yeah,
all over the globe, so
Yeah. So,
I'm
yeah.
some
yeah.
will
Okay.
know,
Well,
some won't.
I went to school, middle school. They age you're about maybe 15, 16 years old, and then
We call that high school
thinking,
here.
yeah, well, maybe it's maybe yeah, well, maybe it was a bit of yeah. I think about 16, 17. I was thinking, yeah, maybe I, I knew there was a flying school in the northern part of our country. This was the only one. It was the KLM Flight Academy. It was called at that days the National Flight School. But I applied there, and I get a letter back. Yeah, sorry, guy, you're about 1 month too old, so we cannot we cannot take you.
Oh
Huh.
man.
Okay, that was a pity. So yeah,
Right. 1
and
month. Jeez.
yeah. Well,
Wow.
they are very strict.
I guess so.
Well, what happened after that? I went. There was a kind of on school, kind of teacher, special teacher, and you could go to him. Okay, I want to be this. What are my opportunities? He said, no, well, there's a technical high school, and they training for flight engineers because KLM want to have flight engineers, and they said to this school, okay, can you supply people? So, long story short, I went there. I passed, and I had a small job in between, but then there came a letter in my post box, and there was KLM. Okay, do you want to be a flight engineer? Date, bam, bam, come there and do this and that. Well, it's a long story again, but finally, it was about May 1958. I was in the training for the 747 to be a flight engineer, and yeah, that I was there till 1949 or so. I got about 55 yeah 5,500 hours on that one. And when I started this flight engineering career, they already said, okay, you guys, you're all hired, and but you will not make your retirement on this plane because there's a new Airbus coming, the A310, with there were plans to have a flight engineer on that, but that all was not going through. So what happened was we got all the selections. First, I have to say, they say when you're at an age that you can reach your retirement as an FE, then you stay. And but for the other guys like me, we were in a group. Yeah, we, we couldn't reach our retirement age, so they gave us the opportunity to be a pilot. And yeah, okay, of course, we got the regular pilot selection things like every pilot in KLM. And then and now I'm still talking 1968. So and okay, luckily I passed, and but I went to the training. It was 1959 or so. So I, it was a long time in between it. So well, yeah. Then I was flight engineer for about 9 years or so on the 74. I enjoyed it very much. It was a really nice time because yeah, KLM, they trained you not just as a system operator. You probably know from the simulator. You know the Veles, the great 742 he made. Yeah, you can operate this plane very quickly. Yeah, click, and you fly. But that's not in real life. Yeah, you can. It can be, but when something is wrong, then the job changes. And KLM trained you as a flight of as a ground engineer as well. We had a ground engineer license. We could do
Yeah.
all repairs, and we designed for the airworthiness of the plane. We could do test runs, engine test runs, and things like that.
Oh man. So
So
do
that
you?
was very interesting because yeah, we had long haul was yeah no, there was no long haul at the time. And for some were flying from Amsterdam to Sydney. Yeah, that was Amsterdam, Vienna, Dubai, and probably Dubai to Colombo, and then Colombo via Singapore to Melbourne, and then Melbourne,
Mhm.
Sydney.
That's pretty busy.
This plane
Yeah,
made a
that's a
lot of
long
stops.
that's
That's
a lot of stops,
busy.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Hey,
remember.
Yoss, real quick, I just want to clear up something. You're referring to the '80s, correct? So the 1980s into the
Yeah,
'90s, correct?
yeah,
Okay, I just wanted to just to make some
yeah. This
clear that up.
90 started 1958, and
Okay,
the pilot started at 1969.
okay.
But yeah, I can talk hours about this flight engineer. But
So
you guys have short time. Maybe you make a new
no, I was
episode.
going to say, so how hard was that transition for you going from flight engineer? So you obviously, I'm going to assume at KLM you were setting the throttles, though. You were manually doing the
Yeah,
throttles. Yeah.
engineer. It was just in the crew concept. Everybody had its part in this role he's playing in the cockpit, and it was for example, a takeoff. Okay, the initial call was the pilot flying the moved the thrust lever to about halfway, and about EPRs was 1.1 or so, and then he said spin up, and then we said okay, go, and then he set the levers close to the value, the max EPR what was calculated, and then he said check first, and then okay, then you fiddled till 80 knots,
Yeah.
till everything was equal, and no exceedances and things like that, and that was always exciting. That was and it's all the special as a GT9 with water injection. That was for example, I remember takeoffs in LA. It's hot and
Yeah.
it's a long way, but you're heavy. Yeah, you have to fly 12 hours or so. So that was mostly with water injection, performance wise, and packs off. And I
Packs
still
off.
remember when you cleared the lineup, then it started. Okay, you switch off the packs. Okay, then because no airflow anymore, it got quiet in the cockpit. And then okay, water on. You switch the water pumps. So when you hear these pumps, they were low in the cargo, but you hear them kind of humming sound. And then now you reported that it's ready. Okay, now we got takeoff clearance. Okay, and then it was just again the same thing, spin up, and then you saw all these 4 green lights blinking a bit, and then suddenly at close to full thrust, it was like the sound of a Lancaster in takeoff. It was really, really, yeah.
Oh man.
So that's why, we're going to talk later about the fellas, but that's why I'm so strong that I want this sound good, because this GT9 sound is so special,
Yeah.
and it's kind of okay, but we don't have water injection, but
Let me
it's
ask you
okay.
this: when you, as crew for the 747, I think there was kind of a um, the crew for those planes held a special place in the public's eye. Did you notice sort of a difference? Did people want to talk to you about the plane, the Queen of the Skies? Did it sort of give you that special feeling being a member of the 747 crew?
You mean on the Discord or in
No,
the?
no, no,
No,
no.
just in
When you
general
were
public.
flying,
Yeah, you were
you
flying
know,
it.
because
Yeah.
at the
Oh
time, flying was on those kinds of
no, well,
planes was still a more special experience, I think, than it is now.
yeah, oh no, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, well, of course, people ask you things, and sometimes they look, this guy's KLM, oh. But yeah, I'm just me, and I
You're
just
just you.
I just if I was a surgeon or a lawyer or working on a machine or be a carpenter or something, it's just me, and I do
Sure.
that was my reaction mostly, and
Yeah. So I mean, do
it
you
still is.
when we talk about the 747, as far as you said, so you were both maintenance qualified,
Yeah,
essentially what we
yeah,
would call an A&P here in the United
yeah,
States,
yeah,
and
yeah,
you were
yeah.
qualified as a flight engineer, which I've asked around. I don't think that's how it was here,
No,
and it's
no,
very interesting that
yeah.
that's what they did.
Yeah, I can tell you maybe a small story about that kind of thing. So we had this
Sure.
end pieces of a flight of, for example, the end stop was Jakarta, and so we flew. The plane was as crew. We flew only this part: Singapore, Jakarta, and Jakarta to Singapore back. That was your working day. But when we arrived in Jakarta, there was a problem with one of the leading edge flaps. It was kind of stuck, or it was there was something wrong with it. Yeah, you need to fix that because you cannot go. Okay, there is ground always. There are engineers and guys that
Sure.
can do things. But the troubleshooting, that was a problem. So we had these big books, you call it the fault isolation manual and things like that. And we found out it was a kind of relay that was broken. and we have this comparable number guide, and you can find where this relay is situated. There are more relays of that same kind in the plane somewhere, and this one was somewhere in the toilet in the ceiling.
Oh,
The same
jeez.
yeah, we were trained for
Of
that
course.
to do it like that. So it hasn't had no important function, but it was the same relay. So we just interchanged that, and boom, we could go. And that's a small thing about the flight engineer time. And yeah, I came.
So was the toilet MEL then? Is that what happened? Or you just,
No,
you
no,
just
it was something for. I cannot remember what it was. It was not a mail item or so.
Sure.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
but everybody happy. Yeah, and more strange things like we had this same thing. We had this hop Nairobi to Johannesburg and back. So the whole crew is standing on the airport because no gates and so just stairs.
Yeah.
And you see this plane coming in, and you hear the specific CF6 sound. Ah, there she is. She's taxiing in. She stops, engines down, and I looked. What the hell? I saw on the right wing, guys missing something. there was something missing. And I went closer, and I saw you have these flap tracks, and they protected with these canoes. They call it.
Yes.
You know probably what
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I mean. And the front part is kind of beginning. It's a short gap. It was missing. It looked strange. So okay, we looked in the mail. Okay, everything may be missing except the gap. So yeah, what to do? Yeah, I was thinking, okay, what's on this track? On the track is nothing. It's just a kind of Y E profile we call it. Yeah, it's like an E.
Yeah, shaped like an.
That's it. That's the shape, and there's nothing on it. There's no sensor for indication or whatever. It's just a piece of metal under the wing. And for this part, it was allowed to fly without that. But yeah, the big problem was this front part. Okay, we made a decision and we said, okay, what will be the problem? Probably not, because that's just a protection because it had to be there because there's something behind it, but there's nothing behind it. So, okay, long story short, just throw this shit in the boat
And off you go.
Yeah, and of course. We talked to the guys in Amsterdam. It was via HF. It was so fun in that time. So no mobile phones, no, just
Right.
Yeah.
And they
Say
sent us
again, please. I can't understand a word you're saying.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They sent us a telex that it was approved, and they called the local authorities. It was approved for a short flight. So, but the fun thing was we arrived in Joburg, and the plane is just flying, no problem. But the thing was, it used less fuel. So we said, okay, let's remove all. I'm joking. That's
Called up Boeing. Yeah, we don't need these
It's
anymore.
like, hey, we really don't need this.
But that were the fun things in that time. With so many colleagues of mine, they had maybe more exciting stories with engine stalls and things. The only thing I had was it was a flight from Tokyo via Moscow to Amsterdam, and halfway Russia. Yeah, I saw one oil indicator. It was going down. What the fuck? Top.
Right. Reboot.
It was real. It was real going down. So okay, you do the train procedure, but how you learn it in the sim, and okay, engine failure, blah 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 blah. That's all no problem, and we had to descend a bit because we were a little bit high for 3 engines. But then the ATC and planning wise, that's the whole train that's gonna like a domino effect. Yeah, you say the first Russian controller, okay, problem blah blah blah. Oh yeah, left. Okay, 3. What's important? But anyway,
3 engines plenty on a 747. You're good.
Yeah, but and in every you get a new sector and the same things. What the plans? Okay, our planning was already we couldn't go to Moscow because then you have about 350, 380 passengers in Moscow, and they have to stay there in a hotel without a
Yeah.
visa. Blah blah blah. We saw a big problem coming up, so we decided to go, and it was okay with the fuel planning. We went to Stockholm. In Stockholm, we had there the big department that's doing the GT9 engines. So that makes 1 + 1 is 2,
Yeah.
and
Well,
and I still remember the thing. After landing, we went down, and I went to this engine. I still remember it's engine 4. Went to it, opened it. These big buckets with some help of other guys, and I go to this oil tank, and I just opened it, and I heard gunk. It's really empty.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but during the
Well,
flight, you because you have no oil, you never know. This engine is still windmilling, so you keep this N2 and temperature. You're still strong on that because no oil, it's still windmilling. It could ruin the bearings and things
Sure.
like.
well, I
Well,
think it's
that maybe
something of
that's
a
enough.
testament to the reliability of the
Yeah.
742 and
Mm.
KLM's maintenance, though. That was
Oh yeah, these
your
guys are
your
really,
one
really good,
incident.
and
Yeah.
always when something wrong, you always had contact with our home base.
Yeah.
You discussed what can we do? This is a plan. Blah blah blah.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think
Really
that
like that.
people don't realize that emergencies don't happen in a vacuum. There's a whole support staff that's there
Oh yeah,
with you,
yeah,
and if you
exactly.
really have a problem, like you said, you can get on. Nowadays, it's A cars, but old days,
Yeah,
they have a frequency that they would
yeah,
upkeep, and
exactly.
you would call
Yeah,
them, and they would walk you through it. Yeah,
yeah. What you said, the communication that's changed. That's better now. And
hmm
but the procedure is still the same. You have the same. When I flew the 777 with KLM, you have the same contact with the guys. Okay, it's via ACAS or Satcom or whatever.
yeah,
The guys advise you, and
Sure.
they were very pleasant how that went. Yeah,
So, so
yeah.
after
Well,
you were flying the 7.4 and you moved from the FE position to a pilot
hmm,
position, what was
yeah,
that transition like, and what did
yeah,
you start flying?
yeah. Well, the transition. Yeah, well, I always wanted to be a pilot, so I was very motivated. And
Sure.
okay, luckily on school uh, on school it was it went okay. It was all basic. Performance was basic, not good, not bad. That's just me. And yeah, well,
Yep.
and
Sort of a classic shot, right?
but Dallas, you asked about transition. Yeah, it's a complete different profession. There was one very old flight instructor in this old, and he was engineer as well. And he said, "Yeah, there's a big difference, and the difference is you have a kitchen. There are two kitchens. In the one kitchen is a pilot. The other one is a flight engineer. You have 4 pans boiling with stuff in it, making food, and they will do all the same. And the difference is the pilot is just overviewing all the pans. One pan is going wrong. Okay, he corrects it. The engineer sees one pan is it's boiling, blah blah, no good. He's going to say, "Oh, why is it boiling? Let's see. Is it too high? No. Maybe I check." And meanwhile, the other pans are, blah, 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 blah.
yeah,
you know, it's kind of, maybe I put it simple, but that's the difference in thinking.
Yeah.
And well, it is a kind of change, but you adapt, and okay, fly, and you do, you're physically busy with something. You're
yeah, sure.
controlling, and that's I really liked it, the transition, but I really liked the previous job as well. I really liked it both, and then you asked the other question.
I asked, what plane did you transition to once you were
Oh yeah,
piloting?
you mean the airliner, the first one?
Yeah. So
Or
right, like you were flying the 747 and the FE roll,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
you became a co-pilot, I presume. And
yeah.
what did you start
Yeah,
flying?
we that was kind of regulation. What the deal with KLM, our flight engineer union made. We were to be trained on the Europe fleet, and that was the 73 in that time. So every colleague that managed to had to pass all the exams and get his license and get the training and finally get on the 73, they all went to the 73, and yeah, that was a really weird moment. I still remember the weird. It was, yeah.
You're like, what
I
seat
cannot
is
tell you
this?
how that felt. I remember still. Okay, we did the sim training, and yeah, it's pretty hard work on the sim to get everything, and because it's a lot of training, and we were not 20, 21, a bit older, but yeah, after sim training, we passed that. I passed that, and then okay, then the first time you go do pattern works, and we had to fly Amsterdam to a Prestwick. But I still remember starting this first engine, and you hear this sound, and you're sitting there, and I hear still my instructor said, "Hey, Josh, get this smile off your face." I still remember that. But it's okay. There were fun moments, and I tell you, it was pretty tough sometimes, but
Sure.
sometimes it went like a train. And yeah, then you get the route training, and the 73. Yeah, yes. In a certain moment, it's just you go to your car and you sit in it and you drive with it. That's the way
Yep.
how you go to 737, and go where we go. Oh, there, Bob. That's uh, is it stormy there? Fun. That's how that was how we flew that one, because you have so much routine. You fly
Sure.
every day, and
Yeah.
yeah, knew the airports, you knew the areas, and you knew the tricky things of the 73, and so
And this was
I did
the
it with a lot of pleasure. Yeah.
and was this the NG then at that point,
No,
or
I
still on the
started
classic?
on the 300, and it was the how you call it, an NG or so. No, it was the 300 and the 400,
Yeah.
Yeah, so the
and,
classics.
and yeah, the classics. And after that, we get the 8 and 900, and I have to say there's a big difference. They feel different. It's a different plane. The wing is
Yeah.
different. The,
The wing's different
the
and
final
everything.
approach speeds are much higher.
Yeah.
You could you could have a day you flew with a light 300 from Amsterdam to Stockholm, sorry, to Copenhagen and then back, and the next stretch would be up and down to London with a maximum takeoff weight 900, because sometimes we did some tankering, so to be quicker, and then you're ending up in a storm with a 900 close to maximum landing weight, and you see speeds. You know the from the Sims, they do it very good. And you have, maybe a final approach speed of 155 or so, and
Right.
you have a flap limit of 160, and your stall speed is a little bit below that. Yeah, that was
A
interesting.
little more challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And the fun time was as well when we got an 800, the first ones, because it was a different plane in landing. When you learned the 300 and the 400 were just toys. You could put them there, and it's just there. But the first time on the 800 was a what I'm doing wrong. But oh, finally you learn this trick, and you see other guys they do the same thing,
Sure.
and you look at them. Oh man, what you doing?
Yeah.
But it was a very nice, uh, club.
Yeah.
We were
Sure.
team together on the 7-3. It was really nice.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong here, uh, both of you, please. I have vague recollection that it was the NG series is a little bit slippery. It's a little more slippery plane than the classics were in terms of go down and slow
Yeah,
down
yeah,
and
yeah,
all of
yeah,
that.
yeah. Exactly.
They were a little more challenging that way as well. So it was sort of a
Yeah,
combination
yeah,
of the
yeah.
things.
Yeah, they're different. Yeah, for sure.
And how long were you flying the 7.3 then?
7.3. That was about. Well, I went to the maybe 6. I wrote the things down because I cannot remember that. It was about 3,600 hours, and it was from
3,600 hours is
two,
pretty
two,
good.
so 2000. No, it's about 6, 7 years, and then I went to the 777.
So how was that? Because
That
I
was
know,
great. That was
yeah,
great.
I know
Yeah,
the 777 is kind of what we were hoping to
yeah.
talk a lot about
I
with the.
really. It was a really nice. It's a really nice plane. It and yeah. What can I tell about it? It was. I still remember this training we had in Shuttle. It was all relaxed and it was all CBT, and we had very nice instructor. The guy he made this electronic checklist. His name was Marty, very nice guy, and he told us a lot of things. But yeah, you, when you know the how to fly a 7.3, the 777 is just yeah easy, very easy. I remember we had to do some pattern works because of the local FAA to prove that the sim is good. They want to see some pattern work for some first group, and I was in the very first group. So we went to Prestwick as well, and yeah, I still remember. Man, it's just flying a hot air balloon. It's so slow. It's so easy.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really a nice plane. Really.
What do you mean when you say it's so slow? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, slow. Oh, in approach speeches,
Gotcha.
we I did lessons. Okay, we were not that light, but yeah, 140 or so,
Yeah.
145. That's very slow for a big one.
For
Big
yeah,
plane.
for a plane of that size is
Yeah,
it's very docile. So I've heard.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
okay, you sit a little bit higher, so it compared to the 7.3, it looked a bit like I'm sitting in a hot air balloon, a pool on the rope, and some air is going out and going down. No, I really like this plane, and it's very friendly. You really get lazy on it. I'm wondering if I'm going back to a 7.3 now. I probably have to trim again because you don't need to have to trim on the triple
Right.
when you fly level. Yeah, it's just flying level. You
Yeah.
release the joke, it's flying level. Hey, and the only thing you have to train for speed, that's it.
Yeah.
And
Well, I mean, what about just the sheer size of the plane in terms of we everyone worries about tail strikes and those sorts of things. I
yeah,
guess
well,
that's a concern in a plane
yeah,
like that, particularly
but
with the 300.
that's the thing, yeah. But you don't think about it because you look outside and you see your pitch growing, and it's because it had this fixed gear. This last part of the wheels
Yeah.
are locked. And you're just stepping up, and you feel it. You feel it. You're going up, and you have
So
yeah.
what
You must
Randazzo
really
was
do
talking about
weird
as
things.
well.
You
Yeah.
pull it hard or so, but and it's protected as well. You cannot do that. It's the fly-by-wire has this
Huh.
protection. You cannot.
As hard as you cannot tail
Yeah,
strike it.
probably. I don't know, but I never tried.
Okay.
Well,
No,
I
There's
know this. I know this. If you turn off the flight management computers, anything
not
is hypothetically possible.
sure.
But assuming you're flying it
actually.
like a normal
Oh,
pilot,
when you
it all those protections are there.
Mhm.
yeah. Well, when
Right.
you do that, you have 7.3 again.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. Trim,
A
trim,
bit.
trim.
Yeah.
But
No,
I
it
have to
was.
tell, there is some. Hey, if I've probably flew now because of the ferry flights I
Sure.
did. I flew every 777 that's available with all available engines, and there is difference. You have
Yeah.
a light 200, yeah, it can be a little bit, and a heavy 300 is yeah, just like a solid big.
Right. It's like a feels heavy.
Yeah, it feels heavy, and but it still is very easy controllable. Yeah.
Yeah.
And but the fun thing was because after KLM retirement, I went to TNT. I was on a contract there, and it was about 2 years, and it was a very nice time. And we flew the 777 freighter. And the fun thing is, yeah, it's a 200, and it has the 300 wings and
Right.
engines.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's 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 a kind of 777 hot rod. Yeah,
Yeah.
And I can remember because sometimes we were very light on those flights, and okay, derated, okay, a bit, but man, you have to really be stay in front of the airplane, but it's going so fast,
Yeah.
and especially we had some nice, interesting flights with TNT. That was the flight from Dubai to Hong Kong, and a day after that from Hong Kong to Dubai again. But the flight from Dubai to Hong Kong, the only luggage we had were 2 suitcases, 2 crew. That's it.
That's it.
It was
It's a light
close,
plane.
empty. Yeah, sometimes small things, but not really heavy. So when you were landing in Hong Kong, you were as light as well. You had the approach speeds were incredibly low, the minimum possible for to be in control.
And was this at Kai Tak or the new airport?
And it was the new airport,
Okay.
new airport, yeah. And we mostly arrived there in the morning, and the fun thing was probably maybe you see on the stars from Hong Kong, and you have these 2 parallel runways, but the star is going this left, right, down there. It's a long way around, but mostly we asked, is there possible any direct?
Gotcha.
No. And then what mostly happened, and when the weather was nice, you could see in the distance, you could see the airport. That was a very long distance, but
really?
And then sometimes you get to direct and say heading blah 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 and call runway inside, things like that. Yeah, that's maybe a little bit short how I tell it now, but that was kind of what happened. But at that moment, what happened was, okay, we were pretty high now.
Right.
Yeah.
So what to do now? Most of the thing is just close the throttle, speed up,
Speed brake,
and yeah, sometimes you need that, but mostly you're so light, so it's going down like a rocket. It's you have to take care of your terrain clearance, of course, but mostly you could make that, and it was really really nice to do, just to play with this big machine like that. But sometimes it was a little bit busy, and you have to fly all the trips around. But the fun thing came down when you flew back from Hong Kong to Dubai, and then you were mostly now maximum takeoff weight, always, or not really a takeoff, but I have to say that correct. The takeoff was made in a weight that you landing with maximum landing weight. That was the thing.
Gotcha.
You could take more load, but that's not possible because you would be landing with maximum landing weight.
So you were payload limited essentially, yeah.
Yeah, for that. Well, it was mostly fuel wise, but
yeah.
And okay, that was takeoff was just a heavy takeoff, nothing special. But what happened during the flight? We flew via Vietnam and places like that, and Bangkok. But sometimes the guys, the call sign was quality, blah blah. You cleared down, clean to a new point, and that was a huge shortcut. And,
right.
We don't want that. We don't want a shortcut because
right. Otherwise, I can't land.
It's less fuel, so we are too heavy.
Yeah, we're too heavy. So
that was nice.
So what would you just at that point? Wouldn't you just put your cost index up? I mean, just throw it like 500 or something. I mean, if you're going to get a shortcut.
No, not really. Sometimes we just put another speed or what you said. Maybe play with the cost index. The same.
Yeah.
But it was mostly close to max landing weight, and then Dubai was busy, and so you have to maintain your speeds, especially on final. They want you till maybe 6 miles out or something. I couldn't remember, but they want you to have 160, and then reduce 160 to final approach speeds. Yeah, man, when you're heavy, you have to do
because you only if you're doing it to 4 DME. You've only got a mile because 3 DME is 1,000 feet.
Yeah,
that's
we were
stabilized.
Very, very close to this 1,000 feet a minute goal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the landing was mostly okay with a heavy airplane. The light one,
it's tough. It's tougher with the light.
it's not tough, but it's reacting differently.
Yeah.
Hey, you start to flare. It's maybe a little bit too early, and when it's a heavy one, it's just settling. But a light one is just mumbling. Yeah, I really like the 777. It's a really nice plane.
So which one was your favorite of all? You said you've flown every engine choice, you've flown every
Yeah.
variant. Which one was your favorite?
I still like the TNT one, the freighter with the big engine. That was my favorite.
Yeah.
It was a really nice plane.
No matter which one you're in,
300 was nice as well.
no matter which one you're in, the engines are just straight out powerful. Period. Not to mention massive.
Yeah.
I mean, just
But
massive.
the
It's
thing,
sort of.
we had one thing with a ferry flight, and it's that was a plane was standing there for maybe half a year in the desert in Alice Springs in Australia, and that was an ex Emirates plane, and it was I cannot recall the type, but it's the one with the less powerful engines. And okay, the plane was brought there by some crew, and we had to fly it back. And we was just thinking, oh, we had to go to Chengdu. It's about 7 hours or so. So we calculated fuel, everything. That's the fun thing about ferry flying. You do everything yourself, waiting pallets and blah blah blah.
Right. Do your own
But
dispatching, so to speak.
yeah, we had a thing. The temperature that was a problem because the runway was not that long there. Probably with this type of 777, it was not possible to have a takeoff with the high temperatures on that day. And the ferry com said, "Oh, what's this? This is 777. Yeah, okay. This is 777 with reduced engines."
Yeah.
So we had to wait till a moment that the temperature was going down, mostly in the evening, because we didn't want to depart in dark, and because in it's dark, Australia, what's running on the runway, jumping animals, things like that.
Yes, it's a real
They do that
problem there.
in the dark.
Yeah.
So that's a moment. We took off, and it was all uneventful. Anyway, to Chengdu.
I sort of want to ask one of these a more general question. We'll come right back to 777 though, which is you've talked about a couple of different airports, different challenges at different airports.
Yeah.
With the 777, is there sort of an airport in your mind where you're like, man, every time we had to go in there or out of there, it was like the hardest thing that we really ever had to do with this plane?
No, not really.
Because I know Simmers, if they're watching, they're like, I gotta go try that.
Yeah.
They're gonna want to push the limits.
I did it once, and that is just when you have really bad weather. It's a landing on runway 22 in Amsterdam. That's I don't know why it's loaded because it's you only land there with very strong winds, and it's a short runway, and it has to be on the numbers, but the runway is short, and it
this is
looks
the one
weird.
on the. Oh wow! I'm just looking at this. It's the one on the east side of the
Yeah.
the field.
Yeah,
This is,
you come over the city, and but on the other hand, it was no big problem. But it's just in your mind, it's a short runway, so blah blah blah. blah.
Sure.
It's
And you're not used to necessarily landing
no,
on there
yeah,
either. Yeah.
and your ground speed is so low, so with very strong headwind.
That was sort of like sort of like a discussion we were having yesterday about over here at Dulles that they were landing on runway 30, which they don't do too much because it was that windy. Sort of, you could. I actually listened to a little live ATC. You could sort of hear the pilots sort of saying, "Oh, we're going to do what?" Which is always fun. Felix, I know we wanted to kind of turn to some questions that we had for 777 simming with PMDG coming, and I know you wanted to pick his brain, so I know we got a couple of those if you want to start lobbing them at him.
Yeah, so we've got the first one is I know you have a kind of, well, I don't want you to tell that story. That's not the best story to tell about the 777, but you did have did you ever have the 777 obviously before before
I had
the
it
new
on
one that's coming out, right?
I had it on FSX. I still have it.
It's that was the first version. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was the first.
Yeah, it was great. For that time, it was really nice.
Yeah.
And
And what I saw on the FS weekend, I
Yes.
was there. Of course, it was in my country, so it was easy to go there.
Sure.
It looked great. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, what was your impression? Since we'll just jump right into it. You talk with Matthias.
Yeah,
You
I had a little
and
chat with
you had a
him,
little
and
chat with him, and you saw the
yeah,
777 a little bit, and your
yeah,
impression. You know.
yeah, yeah. Matthijs is a nice guy, and we had a small chat about things, and he said, "Oh, I want to show you something," and he showed me this system. They I don't know if it's implanted yet, if it's going to be there, but I think yes. It's that one. This
Hmm.
wheels, and it's really nice. And Matthijs told me, yeah, when you every landing, the wheels, they wear in random, and every landing you see differences between the surface of the tire, and that's really a cool feature. And Matthijs laughed at me. Oh, you have to go outside every flight, pre-flight, because you could have a problem. And I got the impression they're busy with a big failure thing around it. But
Yeah.
hmm. Well, yeah, and looking at that, I suppose that's something most of us don't really do much of in the sim, and maybe it's a shame because there's a lot going on the outside
Yes.
of these
mhm,
planes, and the
yeah,
triple
yeah,
seven is is no different. And I think I know a lot of us can't identify the this probe or that probe or whatever it's supposed to
no,
do or what's supposed to be right or what looked wrong. And if they actually
yeah,
implemented some of that, even just looking at the tires, it's another way to get
yeah,
people to immerse people in
yeah,
a process.
yeah. Maybe be a short side story about simming and the real world. I see that with fellas as well. There is so much people they want to learn it, but the problem is the manuals are not available, and that's such a pity. Then you call to this probe, that probe. Yeah, when you buy a sim and yeah, you see the plane and what is that? What is it? There is no manual because it's all copyrighted. So for the fellas, one, I can. It's not possible to put a Northwest or a United manual in it, and it would be so nice for people to see that. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's a little side step. Sorry, Dan, for that.
Well, it's not. It's not. I actually think that you've hit on something because
Hmm.
one of the things that PMDG used to have was manuals, and
Yeah,
they've had to take them out of their packages now too, due to
yeah,
their
exactly.
copyright arrangements. And those were just the generic Boeing manuals. Those weren't
Yeah.
even,
Exactly.
airline specific. And yes, if you are a patient and willing to spend your time doing some hunting
Hmm.
around the internet, you
Yeah,
can find
Certainly.
a limited, honestly, a very
yeah.
limited
I think for
group of
the
manuals.
triple, there's a lot you can
Maybe
find.
you
I think
can,
online,
but again, like you say, if from that learning process, it would be nice if there were more ways
yeah,
to get that
yeah,
information.
Yes.
Occasionally, someone will make a nice video, that sort of thing, that
yeah,
can
yeah.
help the
Video
average simmer. But
tutorials are nice as well. Sometimes I think about tutorials. Uh, I think when a guy is making a tutorial, it must be good. It must be correct. Uh, you can tell very nice and very entertaining way about an airplane and how it works and things, but it has to be correct what you're telling because people believe it, and yeah, then they are in the sim. Hey, you see, oh, it's not working like that. Oh, the sim is wrong. Oh, it was told wrong, and that's a little critical
Yeah.
on some streamers.
Yeah.
Most
Sure.
are good, but there are some guys. Yeah, they talk like, well, see, I'm good and blah blah, blah. And it is nice. It is. Everybody's free to do what he wants and or she what she wants to show on the internet.
Well,
But that was
sure.
the thing
But
I was
yeah,
personally thinking.
yeah, you
And
want authenticity, right? You want them to know that the information you're getting is correct.
yeah, but
And
I can say now to myself, okay, yeah, you saying you know everything, so why don't you make a video? But yeah, I'm not good in that. I really
and
like
making
to.
videos is hard.
It is really hard, yeah.
Yeah.
I talked with the guy from Reflected Reality Simulators. It's
Yes, Graham.
Oh, Graham.
Mhm.
his videos I really like, and we made the first ones together. I told him a bit how the procedures were in the Sanfords and
Oh, for the fellas, yeah.
yeah, for the fellas. But it was just released. He took the initiative and he asked me, how's this, and the procedures, the flow and things, and how is this working. But they're still good, still good. Maybe you're gonna make an update for the Explain 12. We have better visuals. I'm gliding off to the fellas now. I
Right.
No, you're
Right.
good.
Well,
It's
but before we depart from the 777, since it is close to release, the PMDG version for
Yep.
NSFS, I assume that's a plane that you're planning on buying for yourself.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I know everyone likes to ask this question, so I'll ask it. Have you already figured out where you're going to fly it first? Because that's a very sim community thing to ask.
You mean from where?
Yeah, what's your first flight in the
First flight? Well, probably I start from Amsterdam, and I do probably maybe a short hop to see if everything is working correct. Maybe to London or so, or Paris, or to Vienna or Nice. Kind of short flight to see if everything is working like I'm expecting how it's working. And then because long haul, I did it.
Yeah.
It's in
Yeah.
a sim. Yeah, for me it's okay, but I did it a lot of times with testing from the fellas. I just let it go. It was on level, and I just went to bed. And yeah, well,
There's nothing wrong with that.
sitting for 11 hours behind my PC.
Yeah, no, not going to do
Then
that.
my wife is saying, "Oh, are you okay? Or
yeah.
It,
maybe we sent you to the mental hospital or so?" But no, that's
well,
that's.
one thing I always say to people too is, where they say, "Well, it's our first long hauler," it's the first real long hauler, and I say, "Yeah, but there
Oh,
there are plenty of short flights in a 777 too." And you'd mentioned freight, and that's a classic example of where
oh
you
yeah,
can have a
yeah.
short flight, and the people
Certainly.
so often overlook those. Hell, just take it out and fly a couple of circuits, see what happens.
Well,
Yeah.
that's true. What you said there, the circuits, that's the thing I'm gonna do, and landing with a lot of crosswind and things like that, and trying. I don't know if is that. I didn't ask that, but the triple has this system, and you're turning more as a 30 bank, and
Yeah,
you can.
will it
That's
limit it?
right. Yeah.
It will.
So
It did in
It's
the P.
fighting. It's
Yeah,
fighting.
in the P3D, it did work like that.
yeah.
Okay, now
It
probably
had all of those
it will
protections
be.
in there. They
Yeah,
worked.
Yeah.
yeah,
They you can. I expect it'll be the same here.
yeah.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I certainly will buy that one. The BMG DG. But the one for Explain is I don't know when that's coming. I probably will buy that as well,
Right.
because
And for
I'm
those who
kind.
don't know, that's the Flight
Flight
Factor
Factor
777.
version
Yeah, the
two.
flight
That's
factor. Yeah,
being
yeah.
Version two.
They
Yeah.
had some pictures. Well, look good as well. But it's let's wait. What's I have both sims, so I'm mostly on the Explain for helping fellas with testing.
Sure.
Sometimes I playing a little bit around with Playmaker and stuff like that. This afternoon I was busy to make a Twin Otter to have a good F mod with that, and it's a freeware plane, and I really like the Twin Otter.
Yeah.
I knew Captain Crash flew that one,
Yep.
so
Yeah,
I'm
we talked
gonna
about that
ask
as
him.
well. He
Think
was
about
he loves don't talk trash about the Twin Otter because he will come after
that.
don't talk trash to Crash
you
about the
about
Twin Otter.
yeah,
Got
exactly.
it.
Yeah, so Yas, I think one of the
I'm. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I think one of the cool things is just kind of your knowledge base, what you've done. It kind of why we've had you on. You're not just somebody who's a pilot who you're retiring. You've spent
Mm,
your the latter years of your life. You're holding on to the knowledge. You've helped the community. I met you, asking
yeah,
questions about
yeah,
the 747 Classic because
yeah,
I wanted to learn more, and you're a great source, and it's just
yeah. Yeah,
so how do you get in how did you get involved in simming
yeah.
and
Well,
and how did you get involved in that side of it where you're also helping because obviously we talked a little bit we brush around you help fellas with some of the things on the 742. So how did you get involved in
Yeah.
all that?
Well, the thing is, as simming, I started as you guys when you're young. I had at the beginning of the flight simulators things, and then FS2 of 2004 and on. And then I went to I had X-Plane 9 or so. I think, oh, that's kind of weird. But the fun thing was you could make your own planes, and so I went on. So I knew X-Plane, and then suddenly I saw on the forum, the X-Plane forum, saw, hey, there's a guy making a 747 Classic. Oh, that got my interest though. And I saw he was already busy with half a year, and he went very quickly. The modeling was quickly, and I saw the cockpit growing. I said, "Oh, I have to jump in." So I jumped in. It was 2019 or so, and fellas asked me, "Yeah, okay, come to my Discord." And so slowly I jumped in, and okay, I had a lot of information. I showed you guys all these manuals I have. I have
Yes.
still some old memories and how things work from that time. So Felix was happy that I wanna help him, and that would help him. And yeah, that's how it went. It went on and on, and certain moment we decided, okay, we were just on the channel talking, and yeah, it's okay. There are other enthusiastic simmers as well, and yeah, he had a question, and the other simmers, oh, this. No, I said, no, that's not good. That's not wrong. So I didn't want to every time say to certain simmers, no, you're wrong. No, it's not like that. No, it's wrong. So we decided to go in private in direct messages, and yeah, we do that. We still do that, and yeah, there's a lot of things changed from the beginning. In the beginning, Felix made all things, but there were some, yeah, a lot of things I can imagine because he didn't have the manuals as well. Yeah, he had some manuals, but it was the TWA. But later on, a nice guy as well, helped a lot with his reading manuals and giving advices. It was Rob Schumacher,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and he supplied us with all kind of info he had in these manuals, and he gave us a permission to use these manuals, and that gave us a lot of info extra. We got the United Maintenance Manual. Yeah, when you have that, you can make a plane.
Mm,
But the thing was with fellas, we had a lot of discussions because yeah, that's the difference between reading the manual and how it's really working.
sure.
And yeah, and well, it is what it is now. And when we started to make, decided to make, okay, this would be fun to have failures because every sim has failures. But yeah, that's easy to say, but it's what
Difficult to
failures
do.
and
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
that impact on his code and things like that. And so
Mm-hmm.
we just grab the ATA chapters. Okay, today we do hydraulics. What's wrong in hydraulics? What can we have wrong there? And during making these failures, I still discovered this is not working correct. This is not good. It works differently. So during the failure making, the whole plane was polished.
Mm,
Everything was made better, more realistic.
Yeah.
Till the smallest system, what's in it. Until now, yeah, I see. Still, there are always small things that I say, oh, it's not wrong. That could be better. But yeah, the NEF system, for example, that fellas, he made this LTN. I'm not used to LTN. I don't know it. I was familiar with the SIVA, but he made this LTN just like it's in the book. And I know him a bit. He's a kind of perfectionist. He wants when it has to work like that, it has to work like that. And it takes some time, but
sure.
when it's working, it's working like that. And
Sure.
that's what I like on it. And
Okay.
yeah, he kind of asked me, yeah, to keep helping me, and that's yeah. I said, okay, I'm at, when I'm at BC, I can help you. I do testing for you, and and we test some things. And he sent the file, what he changed. He sent it to me, and I just test it and see. Oh, that's could be a little bit more like this because it's there, and blah blah blah. And then he changed it again, and then sometimes it's good, and sometimes it takes 6 more time.
Sure.
But at the end, we are still. It's still okay to have this 7.4 classic going to a more higher and higher level. And
Well, I think all of it. I mean, I know the community appreciates that evolution of the plane. I think it keeps it. I think it keeps it relevant as well. And these kinds of high fidelity offerings for such an iconic plane are very limited.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so I know we're all grateful to your assistance to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's still as well on the channel. People have questions. I sometimes thinking, okay, I just answer that, and a lot of interesting questions and things. Are just failures are found by some guys, and that's nice as well. And
sure,
okay, just to report that. And but yeah, well, it's still ongoing, and the fellas is now diving a bit more from the goat, from the how I say that, from the coding. He's more in the he dove back in Blender again.
I saw that he's doing
that's
that air conditioning. I saw that. This air,
and
the fellas air ACU
yeah,
coming soon.
yeah, because we talked about it. Hey, I see there are some requests about how I want to have an air conditioning unit at my plane, and yeah, it's possible. It's already coded. It's already simulated that it's there. You can just sit on an airport, have no APU, and just some electrics, and you can plug in a virtual air conditioning unit, and you see the temperature just reacting on it. You can go to an airport that's 50 degrees outside, and in maybe 10, 15 minutes, it's cooling.
Yeah,
that's nice, and but yeah, it's still going on, and you fellas now back in Blender. I hope he's maybe jumping to do the freighter himself.
Yeah, a lot of people want the freighter. Yeah,
fingers crossed.
And engines. I really liked when he ends up with the plane that's standing in the museum in Lelystad, the Boeing 747-200, the SUT, the rebuilt. It's the Papa Hotel Bravo Uniform Kilo. It's standing there live. It's doing nothing there. It's just standing there.
Right, just sitting there.
But it would be very nice when he when there is an option that he made this plane, and that will be changing the engines. There will be the CF6, the General Electrics, and it will be the tape instruments, and it will be a 300. The look.
Yeah.
And then you can make a whole tree. What are the options? You can, just
right.
But it's up to him. It's his. He's his own boss, so
sure.
he's alone. And there's one guy from Holland that has contact with him and advises him. That's the thing how it's going. It's no big team.
Sure. No, and it's amazing how much has been accomplished with that. I guess one of the questions I have, I mean, besides the 742, is there something that you really enjoy flying in X-Plane or Microsoft Flight Simulator? What are some other products that you sort of really say, hey, I want to go fly that today?
Oh yeah, well that depends. Sometimes I just dive to Microsoft Flight Sim and then I just pick a random plane and I have this big flying boat. You know this I don't know the name, but
the big one, the Spruce
Cruise? No, it's now I
Is it the French one or the German one?
Yeah, the French one.
The La Conserce? Yeah, I know exactly. The 630. Yes,
gotcha.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, but another day I just pick a 172 and I go to a small airport in my area. It's called Drachten Airport. It's a very small general aviation airplane of airport, and then I just do some pattern works with wind, or I take a DC-3. I just bought this. It's the last DC-3.
Yeah.
or yeah, it's so at random what I fly. Sometimes I try. Oh, let's fly a helicopter. Right? Yeah, it's so at random,
Hmm.
and yeah.
Well,
So do you find that because you flew the airliners in real life that you kind of gravitate away from that as you're
No,
flying in the
no, no,
sim? No.
no. Because when this 777 is here, I have it. I probably put a lot of time in that one.
sure.
And just flying, trying out everything is. How's the FMS? Is this all correct? Is VNAV correct? Does it has all these restrictions? More like a testing way, but then
Right.
I have fun with it. Then
Yeah.
because in Explain, the version I used to my old PC because it was quite slow. I can now put in more scenery and other stuff, but it was just a basic sim. It was
Yeah.
no scenery, just default airports because it took too much resources on my
I use
PC.
it.
Sure.
So then it's not interesting to fly other planes that in a Cessna you look outside and it looks
Right.
basic. Explain it's not nice.
It's no good.
Then,
No.
then you better have Microsoft Flight Sim.
Yeah, that's
That's
definitely more fun in
and,
Microsoft Flight Sim.
yeah,
In
yeah.
fact, Felix and I did a couple of shared cockpit flights in the 172 just
Oh yeah.
recently.
Yeah,
Yep.
Oh,
we've been
that's fun. That would be fun.
yeah, so we could
Maybe
we
you can do that. Maybe some.
yeah, we should. So it's funny you say
Yeah.
that. So there's your controls for the
Well.
737 and we can
Yeah.
do a
Yeah.
shared flight together if you ever
That would
wanted
be nice.
to.
Just to do
Yeah.
some pattern
And
work. And that's
yeah.
really funny to do with this. And that's maybe you asked before, I think, Dan, but what you really like on that. Well, I would like on the 777 to have this shared cockpit thing as well,
Yeah,
because
Yeah, so
absolutely.
much.
that's
I
really
think
it's
for
really fun. I did with
And maybe
Cat.
it'll work with your controls at some point, but it'd be really nice if PMDG was sort of actively involved in that.
I think
But
these developers either need to be, like you said, Dan, they need to be actively involved in making the
Yeah,
profile for
yep,
your
the,
control, or they need to make a. I We had a whole thing
yeah,
on why a
right. We had
shared
a whole
cockpit.
segment on shared cockpit a couple
Why is
weeks
it
ago.
not?
But
Why does the community not about? Because think about,
yeah,
even we've even talked about the commercial application of, instead
mm,
of having this expensive procedural trainer, even if it's only fixed, you could have two guys set up
yeah,
in the
exactly.
computer screen and they could be doing the same thing and they don't even have to be in the same room, and
Exactly.
they could be doing this kind of training. And so there's a huge potential for the
Yeah,
shared cockpit, and it's
yeah, and
so
I
fun. And the stuff that Dan,
yeah,
I've done a couple with a bunch of people, and I know X-Plane, there's the shared flight, and
yeah.
it works with the
Mhm.
747 200, which is, that's fun. That's really fun. You get three
Oh
people
yeah,
in
with
the
three people.
74, yeah,
Uh,
and it's really
yeah,
fun. And
really, and that then it's really important to play the role play.
yeah,
Uh, is another guy? It's a Torbinator. We made together a kind of role play for the 742 to use with share flight,
hmm,
and when everybody sticks to what's in there,
it works.
it's running quite okay.
yeah.
No failures there, but don't do that. But the normal operation. I know. Also, you guys did the across the pond
Yeah,
with the
Yeah.
other guys. Yeah,
yeah,
and that was fun, I guess. With
yeah. He fell asleep.
oh,
Yeah,
he
our
he
flight
fell asleep
engineer,
while flying the Fellas. I
yeah,
got it.
yeah. It
Yeah.
was funny, not you, but our flight
Yeah.
engineer. He was like, "Hey, I've got to take a nap," and me and the co-pilot were like, "That guy's not." It was like 45 minutes, and he's like, "That guy's not coming back, is he?" So the worst part is he was hosting it. So, and he's in Australia, and Australia has the worst internet on the face
yeah,
of
yeah.
this planet. And so the plane, when we were flying from Cape Town to Buenos Aires, and when we got to Buenos Aires, we were 60 nautical miles off track. So I had to hand fly with radar vectors, like 3 hours of this flight I was hand flying. It was absolutely insane, but I loved it. It was great. We
That
got it done, but yeah.
that's fun. That's fun. That's really
Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah.
I guess more on, do you have any crazy stories? What's the craziest story of your flying time? It could be as a flight engineer, it can be as that you could tell. Obviously, if it's a if it's not if you can't tell it, don't tell it, but it's
Yeah, let's think. Because I have no real big events. What happened? No bird strikes or other stuff.
Well, it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be an emergency. It could just be funny. It could be you and the co-pilot made a funny joke and it was hilarious. You know what I mean? People were laughing.
Oh
No,
yeah.
Yos. I love what you told me.
Almost.
Tell me.
But we had a lot of fun with our great cabin crew. That always
Yeah.
nice girls, nice guys, and we have always a good relation. Sometimes not, but average was okay. But the fun thing was we had we had this in the 300, the 7, on the 777. We had this camera. You guys know that probably.
Yeah.
This
Hmm.
you can see for security wise. You can see what's behind the door and behind the door, the toilet. Three positions. So the fun thing was, a colleague of mine, he went to the crew, the overhead crew rest of the cabin crew, and there was nobody there. It was just a pre-flight or so, and he just made a picture there. So you see this crew area on his phone, and we went back. He went back to the cockpit, and what you could do was, yeah, when somebody was in front of the door, you can just push the camera and you see, oh, there's one guy standing, but you can freeze this picture, and then the guy is standing there forever. So you could do the thing with he held his phone in front of this camera, and you saw on my screen, I see this overhead crew rest of the cabin crew. So I froze it, bops. So this picture was there. Then suddenly a girl came in the cockpit, and she started talking, oh, but you guys, blah, 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 funny, and we make jokes and have some coffee. And then suddenly she looked at the screen, and she said, what's that? Oh, yeah, that's, yes, crew rest. Oh, crew rest? And she was shocked. Of course, we told her because, yeah, things like that. And of course,
Like what?
that's got, they pay you back on another other way. Yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
it's mostly very friendly and yeah, cozy atmosphere. So when something happened, you are in a good friendly manner. So you work together good.
Yeah.
That's always a goal as well, to have not that strict like this. Just be straight and friendly, and that was mostly a good way to work together. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
other stories. I can maybe fill an hour more, but
Yeah.
I have to
Well,
watch what I tell because
Sure. Yeah. No,
don't
that's what I said. I said
uh,
don't tell anything that's going to incriminate
no,
anybody.
all right. Well,
Yeah.
let me ask this question then, because this is for all the simmers out there. When you're landing your plane in the sim, do you care how?
Oh. All right. I think I know who's gonna. Oh, this is a. Well, I'm up. That's fine.
you,
So
you
here's
you
what I
can finish maybe
Yeah,
also.
I can finish. I can finish the question. So here's what I was going to ask. So here's what Dan was going to ask. I already know. So when you're landing your plane. You're coming in your 777. You're doing 140, maybe 145 approach. You're coming into Dulles. You're in your 300. Do you care about the landing rate? Does the feet per minute matter? Do the G's matter?
No,
Is that
no,
no, not at
no,
all.
no, no,
No.
no, no. No, it's just okay. It's you always do your best, but
Sure,
every most simmers know when it's wet, just bang it. It just
that's right. Yeah,
don't even maybe don't
positive contact.
don't try
Yeah.
to make a nice greaser. Just put it there, and you do not care. And okay, every
Mhm.
pilot in his life, you experience hard landings. It's not a shame. It's these planes are so strong. Ah,
Yeah,
that's,
Dan is
no,
very.
it's a, no, it's a you don't think about that. No, it's also you don't think as well. Okay, there are 350 people behind me. You don't think you have no. You just sitting there. You do your job. It has to be there, and okay, you land it there. That's the thing. You never think about that. Never. It's just
I think you'd put a lot of pressure on yourself if every time you're thinking 350 people. I
no, no.
gotta. Yeah, that's a lot of
You
pressure.
know, I have that is this old Air Force instructor I had on the 73 a long time ago. This guy said, "I don't want to die, so this guy don't die." That's such a thing still in my mind. And but to be honest, no, you never think about it. You never think, oh, this guy is going to complain. Oh, this guy. No, you never do that. No,
You just land the plane, huh?
you just land it, and it has to be on the right spot, and it has to be okay.
And
Of
sometimes,
course, when you make a landing and you never, it's just, and you see the speed brake hesitating to come up, and it's really greasing down the runway. Yeah, okay, that gives a good feeling, of course. It's
sure.
not so. And on the 300, you see guys in the beginning, they landed very nice, touching down, and then you see these guys think, oh, that's cool, and then suddenly, boom, that's the nose wheel.
So they didn't land the
But
nose, right? No.
it's a little bit inside, but yeah, that's stuff that's told to you when you get training and
Yeah.
you experience it. It's but again, no, you never think about that. No.
So what do you think about butter? What do you think about that? Butter.
You're joking about that. Yeah. But I think that's maybe it's one streamer maybe started that because yeah, in aviation I never heard butter. Never. I asked even colleagues, and I said, butter, what is that? No, greaser. That's normal. But
Yeah.
That's what I've heard my whole life is
butter is
greaser.
butter is for on your bread, and you know.
Right, exactly. Well,
And it's a kind of probably it's a sim slang, I think.
Sure.
Probably
And that's fine.
Swiss. How's his name? Swiss 1000 to 3000. Oh,
Swiss
it's a streamer.
001. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's a funny guy, but yeah, probably he said that. Yeah, maybe once or twice, and suddenly everybody says it. And
Butter.
I butter it. Oh yeah, that's good. Well,
I guess.
for me, okay, go on, butter it. You're free to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it for me, it's one of those things where people come on and they say, "Oh my God, I landed at this landing rate," and I'm thinking,
Yeah, I see it all the
"Really?
time.
This is what you're worried about? I mean, did you put it? Were you on the center line? Were you
Yeah, but
where you needed to be? You didn't run off the end of the runway. You're good.
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, as long as the plane's not literally broken, get on with it."
I think then you should have a kind. Yeah, I saw that in the FS weekend. The guys, they have this small chair with screens around it, and it was moving. Okay, when you make a hard landing, you probably feel that.
Okay.
Yeah. There was. Yes, there was a video on it. I think from that guy. He's a nice guy, and he made this thing. He built a couple of years of that, and it's working nicely. And he was very enthusiastic, instructing little boys and women, and they want to fly it. And this thing is really, it's just moving like that, but it's really cool. He uses Microsoft Flight Sim, and he had a Baron there. He flew from St. Martin making patterns in it. It was really fun to see. But this thing is just when you land,
Right.
probably that's a better thing to have. An indicator how much it is than what you said. It says nothing.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, this maybe this last last feet can destroy your landing. Yeah, well,
Have you ever had that happen? You've done everything perfect. You're on your perimeters, and it just the bottom fell out.
Yeah. I remember on the 777 in Nairobi, because it's different. It's a high airport, and the air is thinner. You're faster, and I'm not quite used to how it feels the last part, and normally it's easy, but this was a little bit different, and it was too late. And so it was 50-40. Okay, it felt like that, but it was not bad, nothing broken. And the fun thing is, I had it on the 7.3 as well. Well, every pilot has that. It's
sure. There's sometimes you just
normal.
can't help it, right?
Right.
But when I think, this was really, it was not funny. Sometimes you
had to have your excuse ready.
Well, no. The important thing is that you recognize why. Why was it? When you just have a bang and you don't know, what was that? You have to think, well, what did I do wrong? And for Nairobi, example was a typical high airport, and the air is thinner and it's behaving differently.
Right, just didn't give you the
And
same.
but it was that hard that I said, oh fuck, cannot say that word. Sorry.
No, you're good.
No,
It's funny.
I learned from that was in my flight engineer time, and we had these long haul flights, and then you're most likely you have to double crew as a second. Most of you decided who's going to sit there in the landing and the takeoff. So I had the landing in LA. It was I sat in the business class, in the 300. It was. We had 2 chairs in the back, just sitting there looking out the window, and I see this ground during the landing. You see it, and this is going to be a bang, and it was really boom.
Yeah.
But then, nothing broken, of course.
It's a strong plane.
Runway, and then you hear this sound when the public address, captain is going to do an announcement, and you hear this mostly starting over the speakers. You hear this sound first, and then he start talking. And he said he had the following story, and I had that here. I made it myself. I told that story sometimes after that. But the story was like this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in Los Angeles. This airplane is equipped with 3 Sperry autopilots. And with these autopilots, you can make very nice auto landings. I have to commit that this landing was from myself. This guy, he was a great guy. So, I still remember
funny.
him. But this story,
That's
I
very
remember.
funny.
I did the same on the. I had a landing with a 7-3. I just slipped, and it was boom, and the door was open at that time. And you see these guys coming. Hey, did you learn to fly on an aircraft carrier?
You're like, yes, I did.
But I did the same story, and it always helps. And, it is nothing to be ashamed of. It happens.
Those planes are strong. Those landing gear are strong, especially on the 777. That thing can take a lot of abuse anyway.
Oh yeah. I have faith that they tested it good enough.
Yeah.
Maybe not the current Boeing offerings, but that plane, the 777.
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, the things you saw. What was that? They had a hydraulic, the United plane. Just one hydraulic leak they had.
Yeah, I think I saw that. Yeah, they had at Nairobi, or not Nairobi. What am I saying?
And there was another thing. There was a wheel. What was departing the airplane, or what was that?
Yeah. That's not to me though. To me though, that's not that doesn't seem like the Boeing. That's a maintenance thing that somebody somewhere did something wrong, and it is what it is.
Yeah,
nobody got killed. That's all that matters. That's at the end of the day. Nobody got injured. Nobody got killed. That's what matters. We can replace a plane. We can replace property. We can't replace people's lives. So
exactly.
Yeah,
you're correct. There's always a chain of happenings, and that leads to something. Yeah.
So speaking of that, did you ever just real quick? Did you ever do any accident investigation stuff? Because I know there are a lot of pilots who volunteered their time to do any of that. So
no, I didn't. No, mostly know the guys that do this kind of stuff, and mostly when you fly with a guy like that, you talk about it. But
sure.
It's when you hear the story, of course it's interesting, but it's always they're also very strict, very strict procedures. And,
sure,
yeah,
not like like an CSI or an FBI sensation thing. No, it's really to the point and stuff. It's not easy to do that.
No.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, we've come up on about an hour and a half.
Yep.
Wow.
Which is our
maybe
right.
cut some.
We're going to keep this all in here. It's all too good. And so, but I think we have our time for today. And yes, I mean, we cannot thank you enough. This has been
100%.
just
Yeah, no
great
problem.
fun. Great fun.
I hope it was not too boring.
Oh
Now,
no.
but what we
There's
might
no
want to
way.
do, is after the 777 comes out and you've had a chance to put it through its
Oh yeah,
paces, we'd love to have you come back and tell us
Yeah.
what you think,
yeah.
what you tried,
Okay,
all of
problem.
those things I know the
Yeah.
community would be fascinated to hear.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I love to do that.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah. We'd love to have you back. Yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
100%. 100%.
And I would just like to say on behalf of the community and everybody, and obviously whoever flew with you, they wouldn't know, but you got them safely through all those landings. How many hours did you end up with total?
Well, total 18,000 or so.
18,000. That's a lot of time in the air, man. So
That's a
on
lot
behalf
of
of
time.
all those people
Yeah,
you
no.
flew with, on behalf of the sim
You
community,
get gray hair and
I got plenty of that. I mean, I don't have a lot of hair, but here I got plenty of the grants.
so on
So-
behalf of all those people, Yas, thank you so
Yeah,
much
man.
for coming on board here. Thank you so much for
It's a
talking
pleasure.
and answering my questions. I mean,
Yeah,
you're a
no
wealth of
problem.
knowledge. Your contribution to the community cannot be understated. Thank you so much for what you do and what you've done for the
You're
community.
welcome.
Yas.
100%.
It's a
All right.
pleasure. Pleasure to do
Thank
it
you
from
very much.
my side. Okay.
Okay.
There
Well,
it was, yeah.
that was another fantastic time, and we thank you all for joining us. And we'll see you all next week.
We will see you all next week. Take care.
Good day.